And they got away with it again. In breaking news, the Supreme Court has released a statement that after 8 months of investigation, they are shockingly unable to identify who leaked the draft Dobbs decision, right? I have a feeling if it was a Republican and it was benefiting the pro-life movement, they'd have found the person in about 3 seconds, okay? If you're really serious about identifying the leaker, you don't turn the investigation over to the Supreme Court marshal, who has no actual experience or expertise in conducting sensitive investigations. They're covering it up. This is sick. Okay, I don't trust any of these people anymore, and I genuinely believe that they know who it was, but they won't tell us because it would hurt their institutions that they're trying to protect. It's like the Epstein client list, right? If Trump was on that list, it would have leaked, or at least his name would have leaked, and they would have covered up all the Democrats. You know he's not on that list because it didn't. This is scary stuff. That will sow discord and distrust in our institutions and our governmental bodies. Remember when Brett Baier indicated that the SCOTUS investigation leak was proceeding intensely? Well, despite all that intensity, so many people here, myself included, knew that nothing was going to happen, knew that they'll get away with it because the left always gets away with it. Again, if this was breaking for the right, no way. They'd have had this person, they'd have put him in jail, they'd have given him whatever punishment, the harshest punishment imaginable like we've seen.
Here's the thing. Trump's name is on the Epstein list over and over again. Just this past week, there was a document dump of criminal grand jury files from the Epstein case in Florida. After Governor DeSantis authorized its release, the courts then released it, and Trump's name appears over and over again. But everything with MAGA is projection and confession. Instead of hearing about that, is that what the corporate media is covering right now? Like we're covering it here every day on the MeidasTouch network? No, the corporate media posts stories like this. Biden told ally that he is weighing whether to continue in the race. President Biden's conversation is the first indication he's seriously considering whether he can recover after a devastating debate last week. As Andrew Bates, one of the leaders working with President Biden, says, this claim is absolutely false. If the New York Times provided us with more than 7 minutes to comment, we would have told them so. As Elie Mystal says, is there any historical doppelganger for a party turning against their own incumbent president like this for health reasons? Woodrow Wilson had a stroke. Third-term FDR was a rolling corpse. Ronald Reagan had no idea where he was half the time. Can't recall these kind of reactions. This is what the media is pushing on a week. By the way, President Biden had a horrible debate. Let's stipulate to that. Horrible debate, but he's been a great president. Stipulate to that as well. But this is what we know about Donald Trump's behavior. And as I mentioned, Donald Trump is on the list over and over again. So let's just take a look at the files this week. Let's look at undisputed facts. So from the call message logs that were released in the Epstein files, you see calls to and from Donald Trump and Jeffrey Epstein over and over and over again. You can see right there his name on all of these call message logs. We also know that Donald Trump's name is mentioned in the Epstein depositions of his trafficking victims. He said they were going to Trump's casino. Epstein told the victim, according to her, in a deposition that she was going to, or that he was going to call Donald Trump and they were going to stop by his casino. Virginia Giuffre, who worked at Mar-a-Lago, ended up being recruited by Ghislaine Maxwell, and she was trafficked by Jeffrey Epstein. This is an undisputed fact. Jeffrey Epstein introduced a 14-year-old girl she went by the name of Jane Doe. She went under a pseudonym at the criminal proceedings against Ghislaine Maxwell. And she talked about how she was introduced to Donald Trump. That was really what her testimony was limited to, but Epstein brought her over and introduced her to Trump. Trump brought his kids around Epstein all of the time. Epstein was on Trump's plane with a girl of indeterminate age. I wouldn't be able to tell if she was 15 or 20. Another person on the plane said Trump's name appears at least 7 times on Epstein's flight logs. So there's that as well. Donald Trump said that Epstein is a great guy. and says that he likes women on the younger side. Donald Trump would hang out with him and party with him and go clubbing with him all of the time. And then we have, Donald Trump's, stories about Donald Trump during this period. And again, these are not stories that are like, these are undisputed stories of things that went down. Like when Trump held the Look of the Year pageant in 1991, here were the girls that were at this event that Donald Trump threw. This is a still from a previously unseen footage of the 1991 Look of the Year finale. Here's the report of The Guardian of what went down in some of the parties relating to this event that Donald Trump was at. On September 1991, a large private yacht cruised towards the Statue of Liberty. It was a clear, breezy evening, and from the upper deck of the Spirit of New York, a golden sunset could be seen glinting off the Manhattan skyline. Downstairs, a party was in flow. Scores of teenage girls in evening dresses and miniskirts, some as young as 14, although if you look at the girls in that photo, they look younger than 14. Danced under disco lights. It could have been a high school prom were it not for the crowd of older men surrounding them. Frankly, it wouldn't even been a high school prom. It's like a middle school dance with older men old enough to be their grandparents around them. As the evening wore on, some of the men old enough to be the girls' fathers or grandfathers joined them on the dance floor, pressing themselves against the girls. One balding man in a suit wrapped his arms around two young models, leering into the film camera that was documenting the evening. "Can you please get some beautiful women around me, please?" The party aboard the Spirit of New York was one of several events that Donald Trump, then 45, attended with a group of 58 aspiring young models. That September, they had traveled around the world to compete in Elite's Look of the Year competition. And that was the photo that I sent you was of those girls who then competed in that competition. Donald Trump bragged about inspecting women naked without their consent. Play this clip.
Well, you could also say as the owner of the pageant, it's your obligation to do that.
So you have done that. Now,
I'll tell you the funniest is that I'll go backstage before a show.
Yes.
And everyone's getting dressed and ready and everything else. And, no men are anywhere. And I'm allowed to go in because I'm the owner of the pageant, and therefore I'm inspecting it. I'm inspecting. Right, I want to make sure that
like
everything is good.
You're there.
Yeah, the dress. Is everyone okay? They're standing there with no clothes. Is everybody okay? And you see these incredible-looking women. And so I sort of get away with things like
Growing up, cereal is one of the best parts of being a kid, but as I got older, I had to watch out for sugar and empty carbs. Magic Spoon has the amazing flavors you love, but high protein and less sugar. Like with the variety pack, 4 flavors are cocoa, fruity, frosted, and peanut butter. This pack has 0 grams of sugar, 13 to 14 grams of protein, and 4 to 5 grams of net carbs. Only 140 calories a serving. It's high protein, has 0 grams of sugar. It's keto-friendly, gluten-free, grain-free, and soy-free. I'm a sucker for the cocoa cereal personally, and when I have my Magic Spoon, I always know it's going to be high quality, fresh, crunchy, and you got to love that chocolate milk the cereal makes when you're done with your bowl. Go to magicspoon.com/Meidas to grab a variety pack and try it today. Be sure to use our promo code Meidas at checkout to save $5 off your order. And Magic Spoon is so confident in their product, it's backed with a 100% happiness guarantee. So if you don't like it for any reason, they'll refund your money, no questions asked. Remember, start your day off right with a delicious bowl of high-protein cereal at magicspoon.com/Meidas and use the code Meidas, that's MEIDAS, to save $5 off. Thank you, Magic Spoon, for sponsoring this episode.
Donald Trump brags about, this is pretty disgusting stuff. Here's what Donald Trump says about his daughter, Ivanka. Play the clip.
She does have a very nice figure. I've said that if Ivanka weren't my daughter, perhaps I'd be dating her.
Okay, Ivanka, what's the favorite thing you have in common with your father?
Either real estate or golf.
Donald, with your daughter?
Well, I was going to say sex, but I can't relate that.
If I weren't happily married and, her father.
My daughter, Ivanka.
Yeah.
She's 6 feet tall. She's got the best body.
By the way, your daughter.
She's beautiful.
Can I say this? A piece of ass.
Yeah.
She looks more voluptuous than ever.
She's actually always been very voluptuous.
It's
She's
unbelievable.
tall. She's almost 6 feet.
You going up the escalator? I'm going to be dating her in 10 years. Can you believe it?
This is what Donald Trump said about Lindsay Lohan, who was either 17 or 18 years old at the time. And he said that her mental health issues would make her better in bed for him. Here, play this clip.
What do you think of Lindsay Lohan, Hal?
I think she's hot.
There's something there, right?
Yes.
But you have to like freckles. I've seen a close-up of her chest.
Yes.
And a lot of freckles. Are you into freckles?
If the father's a wreck like the way he is,
right?
You imagine the sex with this troubled...
Yeah, you're probably right. She's probably deeply troubled and therefore great in bed.
Back in the day...
How come the deeply troubled women,
yes,
deeply troubled,
right,
they're always the best in bed? If for some reason what I said is true, I mean, they're just unbelievable.
I can tell from the...
You don't want to be with them for the long term, but for the short term, there's nothing.
You know, and I show you all of this as well to reflect on the fact that our media is utterly broken. Utterly broken. Going back to what Don Jr. said at the beginning, you know, when he said, well, if Donald Trump's name was on the list, you'd all be hearing about it all of the time. Well, you know, instead what we're hearing about right now is, despite the fact that, again, bad debate by President Biden. Trump was awful too. Biden's delivery and optics, so stipulated bad. Biden told the truth. Trump lied the entire time. Trump didn't have a good debate. Biden had a very bad debate. But we have to hear every single day the media over and over and again pushing those stories, when on the other hand, we have Donald Trump engaging in this behavior. Like, that's not a focus of the media. Donald Trump was found liable for sexual assault. I didn't see an editorial in the New York Times. Did you? When Donald Trump was found, it was adjudicated, and the judge said the sexual assault's essentially the same things as rape. And the judge said that in order. Did you see anything about Trump needs to withdraw? Chaos. He's the leader of the Republican Party is an adjudicated rapist. Did you see anything like that? Did you see anything when Trump was convicted of a felony like that? Did you see anything when the Trump organization was convicted of tax fraud? Did you see any of that when they were found civilly liable for fraud? Did you see any of that when it was discovered that Trump paid $0 in taxes and you paid more money? Any of the outrage? Any of the outrage by the media in the degree of that should not be someone running the party? When Trump goes in churches and starts cursing over and over, any outrage? Do you hear it? I don't hear anything. Silence. Silence is complicity. And not only is silence complicity, but the media seems to be heavily invested in fascism. It's just a strange thing to see. And we, the people, need to fight back against that. We have to stick together, and we have to get out these videos. We have to get out the word. I wish it wasn't so. I wish there could be a corporate media that understands basic facts, but they've lost their damn minds. In fact, perhaps they found their damn minds, or rather, they revealed their true colors to us, who they are. It's pathetic. Hit subscribe. Let's get to 3 million together. Thanks for watching.
Love this video? Make sure you stay up to date on the latest breaking news and all things Midas by signing up to the MeidasTouch newsletter at MeidasTouch.com/newsletter.